Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and welcome to the Jobu Report. I'm Mark Holmes. This is Cowboy Jobu, and as always, you know, Jobu needs a refill. Now, it's Thursday night in the NFL, and we have the Kansas City Chiefs against the Raiders. And I got to tell you, just like most of the other games of the season on Thursday night, this is pretty much a snooze fest as well. Hopefully it'll get better, but right now it's 3-0 Raiders. Now, as far as Dak Carr being the league MVP, so far he hasn't shown me a whole heck of a lot thus far, but we'll see how the game progresses. And it's kind of interesting because everybody's got Derek Carr now as the hot pick, and for whatever reason, it seems like when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, they're always thought of as second best, or there's a reason why that they are not the hot pick. You know, I look at Dak Prescott being a rookie. Now, of course, they'll say he's got a great offensive line and he's got Zeke Elliot and things, but you still got to be able to pull the trigger. I look at him still having the best QBR. And when you're talking about being better than Tom Brady, talking about being better than Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, and I believe Derek Carr, I think, is maybe 12th or so. So why is it he's not in that conversation? You know, and the other thing that really bothers me when it comes to Dak Prescott is everybody is waiting for him to fail. He is under so much scrutiny that here it is, Monday morning, they go to a charity event, Children's Hospital. They have the team Christmas party, and him and Ezekiel Elliott go to a club, dancing things. Elliott's shaking a bottle of champagne and spraying it all over the place. Not Zeke. Excuse me, not Dak. Zeke is. Yet we've got this whole thing that he should be home studying the playbook. How can he go out and do this, that, and the other? And it's like, guys, hold on. They've been off since Thursday. It's Monday. They're not practicing. It's not like it's the day before a game. It's not like they're out of town and he's going to a party. It's not like he's Johnny Manziel, because a lot of you people who are condemning Dak Prescott for being out on a Monday, not a strip club, not making it rain, not carrying a gun and shooting himself in the leg, out dancing, are the same people that said we should be bringing Johnny Manziel in here. What? I just can't understand some of the stuff that we keep getting with them. To have done what he has done this season, 18 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Eli Manning had 2 interceptions just last week. Carson Wentz had 3 last week. He's had literally 2 on the season. And for all of you who say that, well, it's just because he's got the great offensive line and great running game. Well, that'll only get you so far. You still have to be able to throw the ball to the open man. If y'all's argument was correct that he just had to show up, I could be out there doing it then. I got to tell you, I can't. So anyway, let's go ahead, and we see some of you guys are already beginning to tune in, see what's going on. Yeah, the midget fans have been talking a lot of smack, and it's Five-Ring Boys, and it's crazy how much they've been talking. And I kept saying last week that you guys needed to focus in on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The fact that you guys are out here talking about the Cowboys and you had a big game to play is pretty bad. And right now, the Giants, I got to tell you, they're hurting pretty bad. JPP is gone for 6 weeks, and I might as well. I think it's safe to say that's for the season. So you now have Oliver Vernon left, and he's been playing really, really well, especially the last 4 weeks against inferior competition with JPP. Both of them all of a sudden had turned it on. But now it's basically Oliver Vernon. The key matchup in this game is Oliver Vernon versus Tyron Smith. If you control him, the rest of the guys that are around him, you have between all the other defensive ends, you have 2 sacks. Career, not on the season, career sacks. you have two guys that are undrafted free agents and a rookie third-round pick that has a brace on his knee. So when you look at the Giants being able to stop the run, there should be no chance for them to stop the run. And if Tyron Smith can control Oliver Vernon, they're not getting the pass rush. They, in fact, may make our pass rush look really, really good. So that's going to be the key there. You got good old JPP, who to me is the biggest drama queen in the NFL. It's amazing how when he's winning, it's look at me, I'm a showboater, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. The minute things go wrong, he don't want to hear from anybody. I don't remember. Next question. I'll have to look at the tapes. So I always say, like Jimmy Johnson said, if you're going to walk the walk, talk the talk. So if you want to boast about how good you are with that one catch that was a bad pass in a game that you lost, then be prepared to accept the criticism that goes along with losing. Because thus far, Odell, you're just a guy. What have you done to elevate your team? In fact, a lot of times I see you bringing down your team. But hey, what do I know? I'm an old guy with a day job and a voodoo doll. So let me get to some of you guys' questions here. Yeah, the Chiefs' defense is no joke, and I got to say that Derek Carr is not impressing me. I haven't seen a lot of his games, and thus far, you haven't shown me much. Now, I know he did dislocate his pinky in 2 places 2 weeks ago, but, you know, so far, not real good. They haven't in fact, I think Kansas City, except for that bonehead fourth down run they did, they've actually moved the ball better. Yeah, it's definitely a snooze fest. Yeah, how about them Cowboys, of course. I've been trying some new things. I put out a video earlier because people have been asking me about my man cave, because mostly you guys only see the locker setup here that I built. We're going to be broadcasting for the Super Bowl. I'll be there hopefully from Tuesday on through the Super Bowl. So I'll be bringing you some of the sights and sounds from the Super Bowl Central, or whatever they're going to call it. Last year was Super Bowl City. We'll see what they call it down in Houston. I know it's going to be a space thing, but I'll show you guys a lot of the sights and sound of the NFL experience and so on. I believe we'll be at NFL Honors, and hopefully we'll be seeing Dak or Zeke with the NFL Player of the Year, which also brings me to Sean Lee. Everybody knows that I'm a big fan of Sean Lee, and I'm so glad that he has stayed healthy. In fact, when you click on the subscribe button, that's a picture of Sean Lee with Jobu, and that was taken in the summer of 2014 after he had a knee injury, had his knee surgery, in fact. And it was funny because he wanted to take Jobu home with him. I was like, no, man, you can't take it. I'll let you have one of his shirts. So he's got a Jobu T-shirt. And he said to Jobu, I need you to keep me on the field. Well, he played last year and only missed a couple of games, got his first Pro Bowl. This year, he's fourth in the league in tackles and quietly having a fantastic year. And if that weren't enough, he is the Dallas Cowboys honoree for NFL Man of the Year. And they'll be announcing the winner with United Way at NFL Honors. So hats off to him and all the great work he's doing with kids. And hopefully I'll be seeing him at NFL Honors. It should be a good game tonight, Colonel Moore, but so far it's kind of a snooze fest. If you like a lot of defense, you'll definitely enjoy that one. A lot of people ask me why I do Stephen A. Smith, and Bill B. Yeah, he does need to go to acting classes. First Take has gone from any remnants of being a sports show to literally just being a drama. And it's sad how low it's gone, because Stephen A. Smith does know his sports. But what they're trying to do for ratings right now is just ridiculous. And a lot of people say, oh, man, check out Undisputed. I have a hard time with Shannon Sharp, because Shannon Sharp is like Mr. Ed. He sounds like a horse. Oh, no, them Cowboys ain't going to make the playoffs. Blah, blah, blah. Skip. It's like, oh, it just gives me a headache just even listening to him. So you got to understand, when you watch First Take and Undisputed, what you're getting. What you're getting is fake drama, okay? All this stuff is just a setup. What Stephen A. Smith is doing with the whole idea that it was a Cowboy girlfriend that broke up with him, which is why he hated the Cowboys. I bet you that if the Dallas Cowboys go to the Super Bowl and win it, somehow Stephen A. Smith will be cured of his hatred of the Dallas Cowboys. That they finally got rid of the memory and the broken heart from this woman. You watch. That will be the narrative, because he, in fact, he's a bandwagon fan. Because do we really know what team Stephen A. Smith likes? I mean, he always says he likes the Steelers, but the Steelers have been good for the last few years. I used to think he was an Eagle fan back when they were good. I know he's a fan of anybody who plays the Cowboys, but I honestly still believe that he's a closet Cowboy fan and realizes, hey, look, I can get paid talking trash about the Dallas Cowboys. Because if you hate the Cowboys, you're going to listen to me. If you love the Cowboys, you're going to be pissed off and you're listening to me. And either way, I'm getting paid. And I ain't mad at him. He's figured out what deal works and how to get paid from. Yeah, Ken Norton Jr., man, he was a fantastic player, and I hated seeing him when he left and went to the 49ers, Ray Wood. He was a fantastic player. And his dad was one hell of a boxer. Well, Tapper could contribute. I mean, Lord knows our pass rush could need some help, Sandman, but he's missed a whole lot of time, so it's kind of hard to come in off the street, especially this late in the season, because you're not getting a whole lot of work practice. And the point I was making about Randy Gregory is Randy Gregory hasn't played since last year with no training camp. And the way the NFL is structured, it's not like if you played high school football like what I did. We had 2-a-day practices during camp and pads, and we had a special team practice in between, and then we lifted weights afterwards. Well, the NFL basically is a morning walkthrough in camp and then a padded practice, but they don't hit like you really hit. You're not doing Oklahoma drills and things like that. Pretty much they're expecting you, when you walk on the field, to be ready to play, which is part of the reason why you've seen the play on the field go down. Tackling is poor because they don't practice it. They don't hit and take guys to the ground. The only real tackling they do is during the game. So that's part of the problem with the play on the field and why it's suffered over the years, is a collective bargaining agreement. So now when you're talking about a guy who hasn't been on the field for 2 or 3 months, basically he's coming off of a bicycle and doing some running drills and then now having to go full speed on the field. And it's hard to be able to just pick that up. And that's one of the reasons why I think Randy Gregory is not going to be a big help for our Cowboys. Chris White, it's because he's young and black and no sense beating around the bush about it. Well, you know, I hate to say that, but honestly, that may be the truth. And it's so funny that when you hear a lot of people saying things like, no rookie quarterback has ever won the Super Bowl. Well, that's true. There's a lot of things that haven't happened until they happened. You know, that there was a time when there was never a black quarterback that won the Super Bowl. So does that mean you shouldn't have played Doug Williams? Because sooner or later, it will happen. And I dare say when Tony Romo went down and everybody said we needed to get, you know, a veteran quarterback, you know, and I said, no, because of the situation that this guy's in. He's got a great offensive line, because when you look at most rookie quarterbacks that are forced to play their first year, they're generally speaking going to a bad team. You look at Carson Wentz, he went to the Eagles, which really had a problems with their offensive line. They lost Lane Johnson, and that made it even worse. They had terrible receivers, and in general, you're going to a bad situation where you're going to have to run for your life. I looked at it as you got the best line of football. You have a great running game, and you have all veterans around you. See, this shouldn't have been a 4-12 team. You know, we're only 4-12 because you lost your quarterback. You still had elements that if you had a decent quarterback out there, that we would have done well. So to put a rookie in there, I figured if worst comes to worst, you're going to run Zeke, and you can always run Dak if you had to and do play action out of it. Now, he's done far and away better than I thought, but I always thought that he was going to be a good quarterback. That's right. We'll make history with, you know, that would be the perfect story to have the Cowboys win the Super Bowl when people least expect it with rookies. I dare say if the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl this year, it will definitely be a record-breaking Super Bowl without a doubt. The fact that Houston is only a 3.5-hour drive from Dallas, that place will be so packed, crammed with Dallas Cowboy fans, it will be unbelievable. And the great thing about Super Bowls is it's literally just a giant party in a city. There are street parties all over the place. You've got the Maxim party. You've got Victoria's Secret's party. You got Snoop Doggy Dogg having a concert and having a Little League game. Everywhere you go, there's a flicking party. You know, the Bud Light, they'll take a hotel and make it the Bud Light Hotel, or last year it was a ship. So there's tons and tons of things to do, even if you don't have a ticket to go to the game. You have the NFL experience, which will start up, I think, usually like on Tuesday or Wednesday. And if you have any idea, I mean, if you really want to do something like that, go early in the week, because by Friday, the city will be taken over with people, and it's next to impossible to get to any of the rides and stuff. Chris White, since it's weed trouble, weed's not trouble if you're not an NFL player, but it's trouble if you are, because it's the rules. And when somebody like Cam Newton gets suspended, gets benched for not wearing a tie, you can see that weed is a problem. And weed is a problem when you smoke it at the combine and basically lose about $15 million right off the bat. That's where it's a problem. David Wood, I honestly think that this game, Cowboys and Giants, I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Dallas Cowboys are focused completely on winning. And with them having those extra 3 days of rest, them being pretty much healthy, with the Giants having Victor Cruz basically going off because he's not getting enough passes. Now there's word that one of his teammates had racial graffiti sprayed on his house, so he's out talking about that. You've got Odell Beckham talking about the referees. And I got to tell you, I'm a general contractor. And one thing I've learned is no matter what the building inspector says, he's always right. And the worst thing you can do is piss off a building inspector, because you basically get blackballed. So you may end up going over his head and saying, this is unfair, he was wrong, this, that, and the other. But guess what? The next inspector that comes to your place, he's going to make sure you do everything exactly to the letter of the law. And that's what Odell's doing. He's saying, oh, they shouldn't have this crew ever doing another New York Giant game. Well, guess what? Every official out there right now is saying, we're going to get that SOB. We're going to put him in his place. In the same way that because Cam Newton and all this dapping and being arrogant, the officials all got together and said, you know what? We're not going to call all those calls, and let him literally take a beating. It's in Houston. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Chris. Yeah, I know it's in Houston, but I'm just saying that as opposed to it being in, say, Minnesota, where you got to fly to it, you're going to have tons and tons of Cowboy fans that are going to drive to that Super Bowl. Okay. Smart ass. What do I think about Stephen A's reason for hating Cowboys? Brilliant. Again, you and I are talking about it, aren't we? So my daughter is a YouTuber. She's like a fashion guru and everything else that lives out in LA. And about 350,000 subscribers or so out there and doing great with it. And what she told me is, it doesn't matter if they're talking good about you or talking bad about you. As long as they're talking about you, you get paid. So Stephen A. Smith has got to figure it out. They're talking about me. So he'll continue to come up with crazy off the wall shit because we're talking about it. And I'll be honest with you, it's my guilty pleasure. I actually like the show. Don't ask me why. And I'm going to make sure I'm on the set at Super Bowl. Jared, yes, the Cowboys can clinch home field advantage if they win and Seattle loses. They can clinch home field advantage throughout, basically don't have to win another game. Boy, you guys are throwing these questions so fast I can't keep up with them. I would love for the Cowboys to be headed to their 9th Super Bowl. Yeah, well, Zeke's already got a good contract. I mean, Zeke is not a problem. I mean, he's already rookie slotted as the 4th round pick. So he's not the one that's getting the shaft. Dak is the one that's getting the shaft because he's basically getting paid $600,000 a year over the next 4 years. Now, would the Cowboys do the right thing and renegotiate that early? Well, you kind of hope so. But in the way that the Seattle Seahawks got lucky that Russell Wilson, even though everybody said he should have been just a backup quarterback, they made out like bandits because they didn't have to pay a quarterback $20 million. When you see the Redskins having to pay Kirk Cousins $20 million and possibly franchise tagging him, which will cost them another $23, $24 million, the Cowboys don't have to spend that kind of money if they get rid of Tony Romo. Zeke's going to need more bottles. Okay. Yeah, hopefully he's going to need a whole lot of bottles. In fact, I'd love to deliver a couple of them to him. Getting back into the share of rookie MVP and league MVP in the same here for best case scenario. Well, I'm going to say a really funny one. I could actually see it possible, and this will be one of those bold, crazy predictions. I can see it possible that they end up saying, we're going to have dual MVPs, and Dak and Zeke. Hasn't been done before, but it would be pretty fitting because if the Cowboys go from 4-12, and let's say they do go to the Super Bowl, those two are the X factor. Both of them were needed to make that run. So why not have it Dak and Zeke? That would be my crazy, bold prediction. I believe one year we had the Cowboys had two players that were MVP of a Super Bowl, and I'm trying to remember which Super Bowl that was and which two players. And I believe we also had an MVP one year as a losing Super Bowl team with an MVP. So look for the NFL to do something maybe a little different for once. I wouldn't be surprised. Christopher, that'd be great. 240-0 against the Giants, but I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. Where are we? More comments. Well, Lyle Collins or Leary in the playoffs, I think right now you don't want to mess with the offensive line playing the way it is unless you're going to mess with Doug Free, because Doug Free is really the weakest link. Ron Leary has been playing fantastic, and that was probably one of the best moves that the Cowboys did quietly off the field, was not trading him or letting him go, because he is truly key to that offensive line. Had we not had him, I don't know if the line would be doing as well as it is. Well, I don't think Jerry's going to give Tony Romo's contract right off the bat. I think they'll probably end up waiting at least another year to make sure he's the real deal, because quite frankly, they don't have to. And it'd be nice for them to do that, but I don't think it'll happen. AFC Raiders, Chiefs, or Pats? Well, at the moment, I'm looking at the Chiefs playing a lot better than Oakland is. Now, granted, they are playing in Kansas City, but Oakland's defense to me has always been kind of suspect. Right now, I would say the Chiefs are playing definitely better than the Raiders. Don't count out New England because they've always been there, and for some reason, I think Bill Belichick has sold his soul to the devil. And they always seem to be there. And with them having the Tom Brady suspended, I wouldn't count New England out of the Super Bowl. Ronald Jenkins, yeah, I said this in a video earlier last week that literally the Dallas Cowboys have saved the NFL season. When you've seen some of these Thursday night games that literally are just unwatchable, you've seen some of these other games like the Giants and Cleveland that are just terrible. Without a doubt, let me adjust this camera just a little bit. Without a doubt, the Dallas Cowboys have been the bright spot. When you look at Zeke Elliott, you look at Dak Prescott, they're exciting, they're fun to watch. You know, they're killing you in so many different ways. You've got Zeke running up the middle untouched, or a screen pass going all the way. You got Dez Bryant out there. You got Cole Beasley in that slot getting hit in stride. It's exciting football to watch. And pretty much every game, now maybe I'm biased because I'm a Cowboy fan, but almost every game you're watching is a good game. There haven't been a whole lot of those, and that's why the Dallas Cowboys are in prime time the next 3 weeks. That's unprecedented. Like I was saying to people, a lot of you are from Dallas. Unfortunately, I'm not from Dallas. I actually live in the Washington, D.C. market. So we always have the Washington Redskins on every Sunday. Typically speaking, we would get about 7 or 8 of the Dallas Cowboy games on TV. This year, it's only been one game that hasn't been broadcast here, which is it's never happened like that before. Only one. Because usually I would end up going to the sports club with the MV fan club and watching the games with them, so that way you could watch the games. But this year, we're always on TV. Do I think the Patriots dynasty is beginning to run out of fuel? Well, the fuel is Tom Brady. The question is how long can he continue to play at the level that he's been playing? If he can play 2 or 3 more years, I think they're going to be great. But quarterback is where it's at in the NFL. We saw without having one with Brandon Whedon and Matt Castle that it doesn't matter what kind of offensive line and running back you have, you got to have a good quarterback. And they're few and far between. The fact that teams like the Redskins are talking about maybe there's a cheaper option out there than Kirk Cousins make you realize you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, you ain't got shit. Honeycutt, yeah. Here's what's funny is when you watch football, all these sports guys out there, they're going to go ahead and give you the narrative of why this is going to happen or that's going to happen. But to be honest, football is so unpredictable. You can have all the stats, all the tendencies and everything else, but then all of a sudden it just goes off in another direction. And a lot of times you're listening to these guys that just basically rehash the same narrative that they hear from everybody else. For years, we always heard that Tony Romo was a choker, when in fact he had more 4-quarter comebacks than anybody else, in his time period. You always hear about 8-8. The Dallas Cowboys are always going to choke at 8-8, or they can't play in December. Well, you can throw all that stuff out the window because every year is different. And when you compare, and I got into a disagreement with somebody about statistics, the problem is, let's take the 2015 defense of the Cowboys. They were ranked 16th in the NFL. All right, not very good. But the teams that they faced 3 teams that were in the top 5 in offense. They played 11 of their games against teams that were in the top 13 or higher. So you're playing the best of the best in offense. Now compare that to somebody, say, like Cleveland, who had a 4th-place schedule, who ended up playing like Jacksonville and Tampa Bay and all these other teams who have the same amount of yards. But it's not apples to orange, and there's no way to compare all that stuff apples to orange. It depends truly on the competition. Sometimes it depends on the situations that you're playing in. If you're a team that always scores a lot of points, well, guess what? Your defense is going to give up a lot of yards passing because other teams are trying to pass to catch up. So it's really difficult to go ahead and figure those things out. And anybody who tries to tell you with exact certainty what's going to happen is a liar, because you can't really know. But what I try and do is I try and get as much information as possible. I try and get the tendencies and things that teams have done, and I try and really crunch the numbers. So when I try and give you my opinion, it's not something I heard on ESPN or NFL Network or read on Bleacher Report. It's my opinion, and hopefully more times than not, it's right and more right than some of the other people. Well, thanks, Bill B, for riding the Jobu train, man. I want to say I love your kids. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Dale Powers. I'm glad you guys like the kits and stuff. If you guys have suggestions of things that you would like to see done, or things that can make an improvement, or things that you'd like to see, please let me know, because this is fun for me, and I want to make it everybody's whole gig. It's not just about me and Jobu. It's about all of us together and sharing an experience. So if there's something that you've seen elsewhere with other YouTubers, they say, hey, Mark, this would be really cool if you did whatever. Please let me know, because like I said, I'm trying to improve this. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but I'm old and technology challenged, okay? So this is the 3rd live stream. I finally figured out where the comments are, so I don't have to have my wife reading them to me. Hopefully the sound is better. We realize that we need the screen on the microphone, so that way it's not like wind jamming it. And we've got the web camera together better with better lighting. So hopefully each week it'll improve to the point where you look and say, damn, it's better than ESPN. Well, we already know my facts are better. Do I think Randy Gregory will make an impact before the end of the year? Unfortunately, I would love for him to be able to, Victor, but I don't think that he's going to be able to make an impact with the lack of work and stuff, with what he's already done as far as the NFL. He's going to take some time before he ends up developing. In this short window of a couple of practices, it's not going to do it. He'll be able to practice after the Tampa Bay game and then possibly play in the Detroit game. That's 3 practices. You're not getting a whole lot of work in before that game. Tony Romo is a quarterback's coach. You know what? I've said a lot of times about Tony Romo that I fear for him after football. Brad Johnson, who won a Super Bowl ring with Tampa Bay, he had coffee here in Dallas. He is fucked up. Excuse my language, but literally his body is completely fucked up. He's younger than I am by I think about 2 or maybe 3 years. And for about the last 5 years, he has a hard time getting up out of the bed, literally, because of his back and everything else. And when you think about how many times Tony Romo has had problems with his back, that's something that's not like, breaking a finger or, getting your knee scoped. Your back hurts. You are fucked up. I've got slip disc in my back, and I got to tell you, it's literally like somebody's got a couple of knives twisting around in your back when it starts to go. And I dare say another 10 years, he's going to be screwed up. I've seen guys like I met Jim Kelly at a Super Bowl, actually in Dallas, and he was sitting down on the couch, and I was like, "Wow, Jim Kelly, can I get a picture with you?" He said, "Sure, but you're going to have to sit down because I can't get up." And that's when it starts to hit you that these guys are your heroes. Deion Sanders, we were building a playground together, and his fingers are so screwed up that when he was trying to tighten up a screw with a wrench, he couldn't grip the wrench. The wrench kept falling out of his hand. So the toll that these guys take for our entertainment is unbelievable. So I look at Tony Romo and the hits that he's taken and the way his body's failing him, and it's more than just football. It's the rest of your life as well. Jalen Smith is coming along. They took him off IR just in case it was possible that he could play, but it's not. He's not going to play any this year. But the nerve is doing better to the point where they think he'll be there at training camp next year. I would love for Sean Lee to have a pick 6 this weekend, with him being now the Cowboys nominee for Man of the Year. I'm so excited for him. He is a great guy on and off the field, and you want him to do well. That's the kind of guys. Unfortunately, we hear about the idiots most of the time. And I have been privileged working with United Way to work with a lot of really great guys. Brandon Carr gets a whole lot of crap because of his play on the field, but you won't find a guy who is given more than what he has with kids. I believe NFL's got the Pimp Your Ride and stuff. He's going to be doing that next week, so check that out. I think it's on Tuesday night. It'll premiere. But, these are guys that play hard on the field, but they get that it's more than just football. It's also about me giving back to other people. And the power that these guys have, I can tell a kid, man, you need to go to school, get an education, and it's in one ear and out the other. But you get an NFL player that says, hey, you need to stay in school and get an education. That kid's going to listen. So you work with some of these guys and you realize these are regular guys that really get it, and that's a great thing. Where am I from? I am from Vienna, Virginia. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, and I still live in Virginia. I get to travel quite a bit. I try and come to Dallas for a game or 2 a year, and I get to do some really cool stuff in the NFL. Oh, if the Cowboys had – wait, I got to go back to that one. If the Cowboys had Jared Goff, we'd be fucked. And that's one of those great things that a lot of times a guy can look like an NFL quarterback. He's got the arm. He's got the build. He's passed the Wonderlings test. And Kansas City is kicking Oakland's ass. So can I dare say that Carr has taken a step back in the MVP since Oakland has only put up 3 points, because pretty much they were saying before the game that if Oakland ends up winning this game, that Carr pretty much cements the MVP. Well, look like it's still a race to me, buddy. Keep doing your thing. Thank you, Ronald. Okay. Well, Christopher, yeah, you had the same injury in your back 8 years ago. Well, I tell you what, once you hurt your back, it'll flare up on you. Sometimes you can be doing all kinds of stuff, lots of weights and things like that, won't bother you. And sometimes I can reach over for a pen, and all of a sudden it'll just lock up, and it's painful. Now, Chris White, you must have never hurt your back, because for you to say that his back is fine, yeah, it's fine at the moment. But can you take a car crash in it? Because basically that's what getting hit in the NFL is like, having about 20 or 30 car crashes, over and over again. Steve Jackson, what made me a Dallas Cowboy fan? Well, I grew up here in Washington, D.C., which was hard to become a Dallas Cowboy fan. But as a little kid, my dad was a Dallas Cowboy fan, and the reason why he was a Dallas Cowboy fan, being black and living through, actually just getting through segregation, the Redskins owner, Preston Marshall, said, I'll have a black player on my team when the Harlem Globetrotters have a white player on theirs. And he was the last team to integrate. So my dad said, F you, Redskins, I'm going to root for the team that's opposite of you. And being a little kid sitting on a couch on Sundays watching football with my dad, I wanted to be like my dad. When is Claiborne returning? They're saying he's definitely going to return before the end of the season, possibly the Detroit game. So we'll have to wait and see. Derek Carr is over. I told you guys, because everybody keeps talking about Derek Carr is doing all of this, that, and the other. Well, he doesn't have the offensive line, or he doesn't have the running back. He doesn't have the – it's like, you know what? He's still 12th in QBR. So where is it you're telling me that he's done so much? Well, it's all on him. Okay, right, whatever. Whatever you talking heads, I still say Dak is a hell of a lot better quarterback. And people won't give him credit. But I'm telling you, the way that he checks down and keeps from getting into trouble, moving around the pocket when he has to. He's not like Michael Vick, who will get happy feet and just run to run. He moves around that pocket, and he's going to run and take off when he knows there's nobody that's going to be open. I got to make a move. And that's what he did at Mississippi State, and I still can't understand with the numbers that he had how he was rated as low as he was. I don't know if it was a bias because he was from the Southeast Conference, because he came from Mississippi State, whatever it was. They did not look at the numbers, and they did not look at that much film, because when I saw him, I said, in fact, I did a video right after the Senior Bowl. I said, to me, he looked like Tony Romo, the way he could escape, buy time, and kept his eyes downfield, because he'd literally do a 360. His head would whip around, and his eyes are laser focused downfield as he's still moving and buying more time, and boom, throwing across the grain with a gun for an arm. And when he did run and get hit, pops right back up. And I said, that's a guy who can take a hit. You know, you don't have to worry about, like, say, Sam Bradford with his bird legs that's going to break at any moment. Oh, yeah, the catch game in 81. Yeah, oh, my God. I met Joe Montana after years ago and asked him, I said, did you really throw that pass? Was that meant to be a pass, or were you trying to throw it out of bounds? He said, I'll never tell. But, yeah, I remember that game. That broke my heart. Oh, God, that started the whole San Francisco dynasty. Yeah, I agree with you, Antoine, that Derek Carr 10-3, Dak is 11-1. But I still go back to the numbers. The numbers to me are without a doubt better. But, you know, again, it's the Dallas Cowboys. We're not going to get credit. Everybody hates us. Well, the thing you got to feel great about with the Dallas Cowboys is when you look at the team, you know, when we were going into the season, you had Jerry Jones talking about, you know, the window's open for a little bit longer. Tony Romo's going to be able to play for about another 5 years and everything else. And I kept thinking in my mind, nah, he's not going to be able to play for another 5 years. But the way the Cowboys got lucky, because they truly did get lucky, had they ended up trading up for Lynch or, you know, one of the other guys, or had passed on Dak, it'd be a totally different season right about now. But the fact that you got him, young guy, 23, the fact that your offensive line, except for Doug Free, is 25 or younger, Des Bryant is 28, Cole Beasley, I think he's 25, 26. That is a young offense. The only person that's old on there is Jason Witten, and I dare say he's still got a few years left on it because he's still showing no signs of slowing down. You're looking at a team that, because Dak Prescott's not being paid a whole lot of money, they can get out from under Tony Romo's contract. They've got money to spend in free agency. They've got picks that they can spend on the defense. If they can get that 300-pound gorilla defensive end, the guy that snots, blood and piss and everything else, and makes the quarterback pissed out his leg, this team is going to be a dynasty like we were during the 90s. And you got to feel fantastic about that. They're young, they're exciting, they're playing above and beyond their years. Let's see. Oh, the Danny White years. Yeah, I remember seeing Drew Pearson tackle by Shoe. I remember that game. The Danny White years, those were hard years, man. For 3 years in a row to the NFC Championship, so close to going to the Super Bowl. Your heart had to go out to Danny White because it's just like he just couldn't get over the hump. Well, yeah, his agent could go to the team and basically say, we're going to hold out. But everything that I've heard about Dak Prescott, I was talking to one of the people from the Players Association that worked with him directly. Everything you hear about Dak Prescott is the real deal. He is truly genuine. He cares about winning football. He cares about the team. It's not fake juice that you're hearing when he says it's not about me. It's not my team. It's the team. He's a real deal, and I don't see him holding out and messing with the team chemistry. I look at him being, okay, I'm a team guy. I got picked where I got picked. That's what I'm going to play on. In the same way that Russell Wilson did. I mean, you look at Russell Wilson being a third-round pick, he was getting paid peanuts. Yeah, we were so close. Had we gotten Montana in '86, sacked him, we definitely would have won that. Do I think our defense as a whole is good enough to win a Super Bowl? Yes. I think if we end up getting Wilcox back healthy, and I think if we get Claiborne back healthy, that's going to help. And I'll remind you about the Colts Super Bowl run. That defense that they had going into the playoffs stunk to high hell. I mean, it was pathetic. But for some reason, somehow, they were able to turn it on and became a dominant defense in the playoffs. And I think our defense is getting a lot more grief than is deserved. When you look at us playing 4 games over 19 games against the Steelers and then turning around playing the Redskins, you're talking about 2 of the top offenses in the NFL in a short week. So you're talking about, I think the team's partially tired. I think they'll do a lot better this week, and I think they'll be doing better against some of the other teams we have coming up. Sarah, Dak does have a good soul, but Jobu is the good luck charm now. Come on now, don't take Jobu's job away. Oh, well, without a doubt, Gamma Ray. How you doing tonight, man? Yeah, our offense is truly helping out the defense. But the defense is giving up yards. I mean, we are 18th in yards given up, but they are not giving up points. We're only 5th in points allowed. That's pretty damn good because that's the only number that matters is if you can keep them out of the end zone. Take a shot for the Cowboys. See, no, I'm not going to be doing any more drinking online here because I think some of y'all are ready to call Alcoholics Anonymous for me because y'all think that I'm stealing all of Jobu's rum and that I'm a drunk, okay? And nothing could be further from the truth. I don't actually drink that much, okay? It's Jobu that drinks it all. Yeah, the Giants, yeah, they did have a stinky in 2011, have a terrible. The team was not that good in 2011 in general that won the Super Bowl. Remember, they were a wild card team. They just got hot at the right time, and that's the key. And that's the thing that you don't know, even right now, when you look at some of these teams that are looking pathetic, sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle and go on a run. But the Dallas Cowboys have been consistent every single game. Even that Giant game that we lost, we had opportunities to win that one between Des Bryant catching in the end zone, between Cole Beasley dropping a short touchdown to Terrence Williams not getting out of bounds. Even in that game, we had opportunities to win. So it's been pretty consistent from preseason through the regular season thus far that they have stayed just like this. Yeah, JC, you're right. The defense definitely steps up on third down and in the red zone when it matters most. Yeah, again, Marie, I'm definitely addicted. I told you guys when I was talking about Randy Gregory that I'm addicted to this stuff. I got to tell you, I love this stuff. I think I'm making up for all those years where I was too shy to talk to people. Well, I can't honestly say, Sarah, that Jobu brought Dak to the Cowboys, but he sure was on it. You know, we were at the draft, and I'm planning on going to the draft. It's in Philadelphia, so it's only a couple-hour drive away. We were at the draft basically begging and doing every kind of video we could for Dak Prescott because I just love him. Well, yeah, Carr's finger probably is impacting him quite a bit because he's not taking any snaps from under center right now. He's doing everything from the shotgun. So, you know, as much as he says it's not bothering him, it probably is bothering him. I mean, when you turn your finger kind of cock at it like that, it's going to be sore for quite a bit. And when you have to get that touch and put that zip on the ball, it's hard to do that. So that might be the death knell for him getting MVP unless they have some miracle comeback in the second half, being down 21-3 with almost being halftime. What do I think if Jared Goff was on our team? Oh, God, I think we would have had a repeat of last year. Jared Goff, and how Jeff Fisher still has a job, I don't know. But Jared Goff he can't read defenses. He overthrows the ball when he's under pressure. He does not look like an NFL quarterback. He definitely has bust written all over him. And I dare say that Carson Wentz, even though this Eagle fan said I don't know a damn thing about football, right now he is regressing rapidly. He is looking less and less like a NFL quarterback each week. And if they don't start getting him some protection, it's going to be kind of like what's happened to a lot of the Redskin quarterbacks. The Redskins have ruined a lot of quarterbacks because they just got the hell beaten out of them. I think Jason Campbell, had he been on a different team than the Washington Redskins, would have been a really good quarterback, but he literally just got beat to death. I think we'll beat the midgets on Sunday. I think Eli Manning is still a turnover machine. The running game stinks. Their defensive line, you got Oliver Vernon and a couple other guys. I just don't see, anything can happen to football because any given Sunday. And the Cowboys have been, since Jobu went to New York, have been 3-1 at MetLife. The Cowboys have pretty much owned it except for last year. Well, thank you, Darryl Webb, saying that me and Jobu are right. I appreciate that. Yeah, he could definitely be another Tim Couch as far as Jared Goff goes. But the Rams got all kinds of problems. Jeff Fisher, how do you give Jeff Fisher an extension, a guy who hasn't been in the playoffs in like 16 years? He's not getting along with the GM. You pretty much have ruined, your running back. I mean, that team is it's just a mess. That's a good idea. Do an NFL awards presentation show. Can we just give everything to the Dallas Cowboys? Yeah, Murray? Does that work? Okay. I actually think the score will be 31-21 for the Redskins-Giants game, if it's that much. I'm not sure that the Giants would score that many points. Do I think we could beat the Patriots if we were playing in the Super Bowl? If we play our game, don't make mistakes, I think we could beat them. Anthony, you've got a little bit bigger than I do, 37-21 against the Giants. Who should the Cowboys pick in 17? Well, I'll be honest with you, I have not started looking at players yet to draft because I'm still dealing with this season right now. But I'm going to tell you that the first pick that they have, it needs to be a beast on the defensive line. We get a pass rusher on this team, it's over for years. Who's the best rookie on the team besides Dak and Zeke? Oh, Anthony, the cornerback. He's definitely Anthony Brown. Definitely far and away the next best rookie on the team. Without him, our defense would be a lot worse. Yeah, you're right. The league realizes that it would be a lot more very boring without the Cowboys, because the Cowboys, yeah, it's amazing that there's 32 teams in the NFL, yet every single day, First Take has a story about the Dallas Cowboys. When was the last time you saw a story about, say, Jacksonville or Tampa Bay? You know, anything other than Dallas Cowboys? It's not. Every talk show that's out there is about the Dallas Cowboys, why they're going to fail, why they're not going to, why they did this. You would think that other teams don't have players that get suspended or get into trouble or lose games. Only the Dallas Cowboys. That's a good idea, Daryl, to have basically an offensive or defensive line award. That's actually a really good one. I agree with you, Antoine. I don't think the Giants could put up more than 21 points against our defense. They only put up 20 points against the Cleveland Browns. 7 points that they got in that game was a pick six from JPP, who won't be there. Veggie Bomber, that's a good question. I don't understand that one either, is why Romo guys can't root for Dak as well. Because in the end, football has been genius, because what they market is they market teams, not individual players. And when you look at it, everybody's replaceable. It doesn't matter if you're Joe Montana and won 3 Super Bowls. They can basically say, see ya, off to Kansas City. I remember Tony Dorsett went to Denver, busted up his knee, and was gone that year. Emmitt Smith, after getting the rushing record, he went to Arizona and just basically, try to push the record out there further. It's just the natural order. The way Tony Romo got his job was taken from somebody else. And I don't understand why there's a couple of guys in here. I'm not going to say his name because he's a troll and he would love nothing better for me to say his name. But everything he says is anti-Dak, And it's kind of like, why aren't you guys happy that our team is winning? Would you rather it be last year where it was only Tony Romo as our quarterback, that, we're going to be 4-12, but we'll get Tony Romo back, so we're going to be great? I just don't understand that. What you're witnessing right now has never been done with the Cowboys, winning 11 games straight, having a rookie quarterback lead us to the playoffs before anybody else. And yet we keep getting so much hatred, like everybody's just waiting for Dak Prescott to fail. The whole club thing on Monday. Oh, he's a bad guy. Well, Tony Romo went to Cabo during the bye week with Jessica Simpson, and we turned out and lost the next game. But I don't hear anybody talking about when he went to Cabo. We're talking about going to a club in Dallas on your day off after you've already been to a hospital for kids and went to the team's Christmas party. Huh? Yeah, the talking heads say a lot of things. Garza, Seattle played really good against Carolina, but take a look at Carolina. They're imploding. The coach makes a power statement, I'm going to bench my quarterback, and basically turns an interception in the first play of the game. That team has imploded. That season is done. They're a bad team. So when you say, yeah, well, Seattle's looking great, okay, yeah, but look at the competition. Sorry, Carolina's already packed it in. They got their golf clubs in the trunk. Sarah, I have to agree with you. I don't understand why people can't be happy with winning. And I have to say this, and I hope I don't offend any of you guys, but I got to tell you, some of our Cowboy fans, just because you're a Dallas Cowboy fan doesn't mean that you're smart. because some of you guys out there are just really just freaking idiots, and your arguments make no sense. I mean, like, again, this guy went on me on here about the whole Dak. I can't believe you're not talking about Dak Prescott going to a strip club. I'm like, strip club? What are you talking about? Yeah, he was at a strip club and everything else throwing out money. I'm like, where did you get this? It was not a strip club. Well, I heard that it converts to a strip club on certain nights. What? What the fuck are you talking about? That's the kind of stuff that we keep getting that it just doesn't make any sense. Take a look at it, and it is what it is. He's a 23-year-old man. In your job, are you saying on Saturday and Sunday that you don't go out, have a drink, hang out with your friends, chase some women at 23? No, I guarantee you do. That's called living. We are definitely in matchup nightmare because the defensive line for the Giants is gone without JPP. They're not going to be able to put pressure except with Vernon, but Vernon's going to be going against Tyron Smith. I think we'll be able to literally run up and down the field on them. They're going to have to put 8 men, 9 men in the box, and then we'll play action them to death. I just think that it's going to be a bad day for their defense. And I dare say I think the Cowboys will get a couple sacks and a couple turnovers against Eli. That's right. We're 11-1 with a rookie who has our future being very bright. And if I hear one more person say that he could be RG3, that's when I give him this look. I'm not even going to go into that one. If it has 25 wings, it's a strip club. Hey, man, some of those strip clubs have some good wings, man. Oh, yeah, Dak trolling. I love it. Okay. I agree with you. I definitely want Tony Romo to live a happy life. You know, he's got a beautiful wife and he's got some kids, and you definitely want him to be able to play. And again, I got Tony Romo stuff that's all over the place. I've got this jersey that was autographed by him for Jobu and stuff. We recreated the scene for Major League in his locker in 2014. You know, I wish Tony Romo could have won a Super Bowl. Believe me, I wish he could have. But unfortunately, football is like that girlfriend that you know is bad for you. She's sweet loving, but you know you got to let it go at some point because it's killing you. She's killing you. And that's where football is there. It's a young man's game, and it just keeps rolling on without you. Do I think the Cowboys ruined Tony's career? No, actually, I don't think they did, because Tony Romo, remember, he was undrafted. The fact that the Cowboys took a chance on him and kept him on the roster for those years made his career. Quite frankly, nobody else was interested in Tony Romo. So when you say they ruined his career, they made his career. And in the same sense, Tony Romo was for many years the only reason why the Cowboys were able to be 8-8, because their defense could not hold leads. And as much as you guys want to malign this defense is not giving up 14-point leads in the fourth quarter like our defense had in the past. And a lot of those times when Tony Romo would get blamed for being Tony Ono, it was because they had to have a miracle comeback. It was either Tony Romo gets them in the end zone or they're not getting in the end zone. So it was good for both sides. Tony Romo was able to thrive and be the man that he was. The Cowboys benefited because had they not had him, we would have been in the basement a lot longer, a lot sooner. Well, I think we'll stay at guard. And the eventual plan is that Chaz Green, and he is a big boy. I mean, he is a big boy. I met him last year. Will be the right tackle. He's coming back from injury as well. Actually, Chris White, the Cowboys can keep him on the roster if they want to pay him the salary. And they actually could pay him his whole salary, and it wouldn't affect him because you're not paying Dak crap. Dak is one of the cheapest guys on your team right now. However, the problem with having him on there is in the same sense that we've had first quarters where the Cowboys have started slow. You've got people that are trolling and saying they need to get Dak out of there like he's a bum and put Romo in there. I don't know that you necessarily want to have him knowing that he wants to play as the backup. And if you get rid of him and can get something back, you got to look at the team for the long haul. You want to do what's good for now, but you don't want it to hurt you down the road. And unfortunately, in the early 2010 era, 2011, 2009, those years, the Cowboys kept using Tony Romo as a piggy bank. Instead of going through the draft and building the team through there, they kept trying to get free agents. They bring in Brandon Carr and pay him $50 million. They end up overpaying Miles Austin. And to do those things, they had to get money from somewhere. So you kept taking Tony Romo's contract, turning it into guaranteed money, and kicking that can down the road. Well, unfortunately, it's time to pay the guy, or pay up on the cap. Joe Flacco is Aaron Rodgers' little brother. Okay. Come on, Robert, man. Yeah, Tony Romo did almost get traded to the Saints. It'd be interesting to see what he would have done down there with the Saints. Jalen Smith playing. Jalen Smith, I said earlier, I don't think he's going to be playing this year. It's not worth it at this point because he's not going to give you that much. You're better off letting him heal. Hopefully next year he'll be able to be a beast. Space Cowboy, I've been on the fence about this because whether or not we should give Tony Romo snaps, it's almost like you're insulting the guy. I mean, he has been everything to the Cowboys for the last 10 years. And to kind of say, we're going to give you some garbage time minutes, it's kind of like, really? I'm not sure if he really wants that, to just have mop-up duty. So I'm not sure what the answer is on that one. But I personally, Sarah, don't like the idea of resting guys. We'll have a bye week, which means that's 2 weeks between playing. And when you start resting guys, and now don't get me wrong, if it's somebody who's been playing injured, who needs some time to heal, those guys, yeah, you rest them. But you don't just say, we're going to take the whole team and just have them kick off. You at least have them play some. You may reduce some of the play. You may reduce some of the riskier plays and things like that with guys like Zeke Elliott, But your offensive line, your receivers and things like that, you want them to still be out there playing and getting contact. I'd love to see that Garza 30 to 10 over the Giants. That'd be freaking fantastic. It looks like Randy Gregory will be able to start practicing after the Tampa Bay game, which means he could play in the Detroit game, he could play in the Eagles game, and he could play in the playoffs. But he still has what amounts to probably a year-long suspension for 2017. Basically, he slipped through the cracks from the NFL. The original agreement was if he followed along with the rules and didn't have any other incidences, he would have actually been able to start practicing yesterday. But because he failed another drug test and they just haven't ruled on that yet, they're saying, nah, you're going back to the original deal where he wouldn't be able to practice until after the Tampa game. Yeah, we got to pay Zach Martin. I agree. And, wow, it's 10. We've been talking for an hour? Good Lord. We are actually gone above and beyond what I thought. Wow. Could McFadden have some trade value? Well, the problem is he'll be a free agent after this season. So unless you sign him to another contract, you're not going to be able to trade him. Yeah, they're definitely, Sarah, are not talking about a rookie wall anymore with those guys because they've definitely blown through and knocked that wall down. Now, I can't wait to see how the team plays now that they've actually gotten through that rough stretch. We're talking about 4 games with 4 teams with winning records. You faced 2 of the best offenses in the league. You faced 2 of the best defenses in the league. And that's a brutal stretch, and I don't care what the guys out there tell you. That is a tough sketch for anybody to play. And as much as they say that the Dallas Cowboys haven't played anybody, take a good look at New England's schedule because I think they said we have the easiest schedule in the NFL. New England's is the second easiest. But I don't hear anybody talking about how the New England Patriots haven't played anybody. But, of course, we all know that things aren't equal when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Quite frankly, here's the thing. Like I said, sooner or later, I'm going to get Stephen A. Smith. That is my goal. And I'm going to make sure that me and Jobu show up on set for First Take at the Super Bowl. And Jobu will have a sign that says, "Answer Jobu, Stephen A." And I guarantee you that we'll get on that set. And sooner or later, I'm going to get Stephen A. Smith to respond to me. You can bet on that. Yeah, he definitely needs to make a run, laugh out loud. Yeah, no more 8-8. All of Stephen A. Smith's arguments are going by the wayside. You know, the 8-8 is gone. The accident waiting to happen. This team is focused, man, and I couldn't be more proud of the team. You know, when you think that Jason Witten, for the first time in forever, didn't get a catch and lost that record, you didn't hear Jason Witten upset about that. You didn't hear anything about that. When you've seen games where Des Bryant hasn't gotten a lot of catches and balls thrown to him, he hasn't gotten upset. And even that interview last week, his thing was, if I got to block every single play and we're winning, I don't care, as long as we're winning. And that's what you want. You want guys that just are hungry to win a game, that they don't care about the glory individual, like, say, Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham is out there at a point of me, to where it's hurting his team. You don't see Des Bryant out there making stupid penalties because he's mad because somebody got up under his skin with Josh Norman. You don't see him on the sidelines making out with the net. You see guys that are figuring out, how do we win a game? How do we become the best team that we can be? And that's what you want as a football team. And I dare say that this truly is a team. Now, it's 10:08. We've been at this for well over an hour. And as always, they tell me, don't quit your day job, in which case I haven't. And actually, I have a clip that I'm going to share with you guys about my day job. I've got a project that I have a lot of passions in life. One, of course, as you can tell by my man cave, is the Dallas Cowboys. I love to cook, especially football Sundays, you know, my pork barbecue or my Texas chili and things like that. And the third thing I love is I love old buildings. And I have a house that we're restoring. It was originally a schoolhouse that was built in 1820. And I've got a clip from being down there today. My son's been working on it, getting it gutted out, and we're going to start rebuilding it and making it look like it originally was. So that's my third project. We'll do a T-shirt contest, Jeffrey, on the next go-round. I may do a show tomorrow night or Saturday. One or the other it'll be. And I'll be honest with you, I forgot to get a really good question. So forgive me. I'm getting old and forgetful. So we definitely will do another T-shirt contest on Saturday. So let me think of a good trivia question for it. And maybe we'll do two. And maybe we'll do something extra special to go with that. All right? And I agree with you. F the Giants. And thank you for the good show. As always, guys, you could have been watching anything out there, and you chose to watch us. And I appreciate that. I thank for each and every one of you for the support. I thank you for the comments. I thank you for the subscribing to it. I thank you guys for being here with me. And as always, thank you for spreading the mojo. And I will see you guys either tomorrow night or Saturday night. And how about them Cowboys? All right. And we are out of here.